Hey everybody! Today we're going to talk about the lowly FEP. Don't go away. Hey everybody, it's Paul from VACI Productions coming to you as always from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. And today we indeed are going to be talking about the miraculous FEP. It's fun to say, and it is a technological marvel that gets no respect. It is the Rodney Dangerfield of resin printing. Where can I get a cheaper one? Where can I buy the least expensive one? It's nothing but an expensive piece of plastic. Wow. Boy, are we taking the FEP for granted. When I called it a technological marvel, I really was not overstating it. And in fact, it is that lowly FEP that gives us 3D resin printing. So let's take a look at FEPs. Here's a package of FEPs I bought online. Now, I've only used 2 FEPs in my 3D resin printing career here. The FEP that Anycubic gave me, and one of these from the FEP shop. Now, I am not recommending the FEP shop in any way, shape, or form. They are not behind this video in any way, shape, or form. I have only had this in for a few prints, and I don't have enough information to give you a fair opinion on them. I'm simply saying this is what I'm using right now. I'll tell you what I think of it right now. But if you decide to go forward and try and get something from the FEP shop, you're doing so based on your own judgment, not any recommendation from me. So let's take a look at a FEP. All right. This is a 127 HD FEP. It comes in a 3-pack. It is cut to fit the Anycubic Photon. And you can see why some refer to it as nothing but an expensive piece of plastic. Well, I can understand that. But if you understood the FEP, nobody would be saying that. And while you might still be trying to find the best deal on the FEP that you choose, you won't be choosing a FEP based on it being the best deal. So let's talk about the FEP. The FEP, when I called it a marvel, I was not understating it or overstating it. It really is a marvel. It is not just a clear piece of plastic. The FEP is optical. If it was just a clear piece of plastic, you could have diffusion, refraction, all sorts of tricks of light. And the one thing we can't have in 3D resin printing is tricks of light. We want that light to go from its source into the resin as if nothing were there. So the FEP has to bring in with it a bunch of optical properties that you wouldn't find in just a piece of plastic. The FEP needs to be extremely strong. Okay? This, the best FEP in the world, is going to be subject to resin sticking to it and the build plate pulling up on it and yanking on it, trying to separate that resin from the FEP. And you're going to have those forces. You're going to have the forces of this being stretched over the bottom of the vat to this drum tightness. And it can't tear. Imagine if this was weaker and it tore and all your resin poured out into your printer. I don't even know where I'd start. I'd probably just take the whole thing out to the dumpster and chuck it, because I wouldn't even begin to know how to clean that mess. So the FEP has to be really, really, really strong. Okay? So there's that. The FEP has to be incredibly stable. Okay? Incredibly stable. It is immersed in all variations of resins. It has to resist any degradation from those resins. It has to resist any degradation from the various cleaning products we might use when we empty our vat. It cannot release anything, not for its own sake alone, but also for the sake of your resin. If the FEP was not as stable as it is, it could give off gases or some sorts of films that could intertwine with your resin and degrade the quality of your prints or actually just cause complete failures. So it must be stable under all sorts of solutions and potions and everything else that we're going to do to it. The FEP is truly an incredible product. So, can I say to you that it's wrong to search a deal? No, of course not. And am I trying to take anybody down that is doing that? No, not at all. You know your world and your life. What I'm trying to do here today is I'm trying to tell you that the FEP is far bigger a miracle than you give it credit for. And you should shop accordingly. These 3 FEPs I got from the FEP shop were not that expensive. So far, I believe they are very, very clear, all right? And I have noticed a significant amount of reduction of that sucking, snapping noise as the print is happening with these FEPs. My first FEP definitely had an impact. I'm going to show you this little coin up close. And right here at the top of this was printed on the Anycubic FEP, which is really, really expensive. And within days, it started to develop this cloudiness and this little mark, this like had a crease right in the center of it. And it started to impact this print. And you can see right here, this little crease, okay? So, yes, the FEP does impact your prints. The prints I've done since I've switched to the FEP Shop 127 HDs have been fantastic. All right? And maybe I'll do an evaluation on these things after I've used them more. But for right now, I'll just say the prints have been great and chalk it up to whatever you want to chalk it up to. But the bottom line is, look, when you head out and go to look for a FEP, don't just try and find the bottom bargain basement dollar cheapest FEP in the world, because no part of your printing process touches every single layer of your print except the lowly FEP. Alright, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, click subscribe, and click the little bell to be notified anytime I release a new video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I really do read them all. This is Paul from Fat Guy Productions, wishing you an amazing, beautiful, sunny, FEP-y kind of day, and until next time, be good.